Hey lovelies, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Verdie. I am a licensed nail tech, small business owner, and content creator. Today I'm doing step-by-step on how I do my Gel X application for a wide nail bed. So first I'm going to start with prep. In this step I am pushing back my cuticles. I really didn't have too much of that cuticle skin to push back, but this is where you would start. You want to expose as much of the natural nail as possible, and you want to push back the cuticles, so when you remove all of that stuff that's on the nail plate, you have a clean application to prevent lifting. So now I am going to remove any cuticle that is on my nail plate. I'm starting off with a fine sanding band and very, very low speed on my e-file. I believe it's on 2. This e-file is great, but the LED is not so bright, especially under the bright ring light while that's on while I'm recording. So I'm just going around that cuticle area. I'm using this to also push back the cuticles a little bit. Any excess skin that is on the cuticle, on the actual nail plate, I am removing that as well. And I am etching the surface of the entire nail. I want to make sure that the surface of the nail is a little bit roughed up, for lack of a better term, so that the gel that I'm using will adhere. So every product has to have something to adhere to. It won't adhere to a smooth layer. So that's why I'm doing that. And so I'm going to do both hands, just going around the surface of the nail using very light strokes, getting off any skin that is actually attached to the nail plate, and again, etching the surface of the nail. I'm also rounding off my nails a little bit. I feel that when you're doing the full coverage nail tips, Gel X, Kiara Sky Jelly tips, whichever tips you're using, I tend to get a better application when my nails are rounded off. So the next bit I'm going to be using, it's called a diamond bit. I did get this from Young Nails, and it is a flat surface. I know a lot of people use cone, not cone bits, but the ball bits or rounded bits. Those should never, ever, ever, ever touch your nail plate. Whenever you're removing cuticle or etching the surface of your nail, you always want to use a flat surface so you're not creating ridges in the nail. So I'm going in with a flat bit on a flat surface, so that if I were to use the ball bit, then I would have like an indentation on my nail plate. So you want to make sure that your bit is flat to the surface of the nail. And I'm just going to get up anything that I didn't get up with the sanding band. And this gets a little bit closer to the skin. So, but again, just gentle light strokes with a low speed on your e-file to do this. After that, I'm going to remove all the dust, see if there's anything I missed. I feel good and confident that I didn't miss anything. So I'm going to clean off my nail plate, just dust it off and pick my sizes. Now, if I use this size 0, I'm trying to show you here, I can get sidewall to sidewall, but it's really, really tight. So I am going to apply these not directly at the cuticle area so that I can A, get a little bit of extra length, and B, make sure I'm going sidewall to sidewall. So for my 3 fingers, the next 3 fingers, I have a size that fits perfectly, but I decided to size up so that I can ensure that I get that sidewall to sidewall coverage. It's not going to give me the cleanest cuticle application because it's not the same exact shape of my cuticle. So I'm just going to apply that not directly at the cuticle. And so what this allows me to do is I don't have to shape the nail to match my cuticle area, and then it gives me side to side wall coverage, and it also gives me a little bit of extra length on the nail tip. You will have to do a little bit of extra work, but if your goal is to use the full coverage nail tips, not have to do all the shaping, and generally have your apex, depending on how far up you place the nail tip, then this would be a good technique for you. It's also a good technique if you can't get the nail tips to match your actual nail. So you kind of have to fudge it a little bit, like play around with it a little bit. So instead of going in creating more dust, which I don't feel like cleaning up, I'm going to etch the inside of the nails with my primer. Earlier I did say everything needs kind of nothing's going to stick to a smooth surface. It might stick temporarily, but the nails might eventually pop off. So instead of going in with the e-file or a hand file to scratch up the surface of the nail, I'm just using some primer, because primer is going to adhere to one thing, and then whatever you put on top of that, it's sticky, so it's gonna adhere to both things. So I'm gonna use primer instead. I typically use primer instead of etching. That's typically how I do it. I know everyone does stuff a little bit different, but it is my preference, and I still have the same wear time as if I were to go in with the file. So if you don't want to deal with that extra dust, try using a little bit of primer and see how that works out for you. So after I'm done with all of the 10 nails, I'm going to go in with acetone on a paper towel. You can use a lint-free wipe, whatever you have. And I'm going to dehydrate my nails that way. I'm also trying to get into the corners of the nails to make sure I got off all of the dust from earlier. And after I'm done with that, I'm going to go in with a coat of primer on all of the nails, and just to make sure that I have the adhesion that I need for the next layer. So my next layer is going to be a rubber base coat. Well, this one I believe is a builder gel in a bottle. This is by Luminary, and this gel does not soak off. This is not a soak off gel. I repeat, this is not a soak off gel. So it's a hard gel in a bottle. So I'm going to go ahead and put a layer on my nails. I'm not going to cure it. I'm going to get the nail tip, and I'm going to put a layer inside of the nail tip and leave a little excess in the cuticle area. I'm kind of struggling here. It's probably time to get a new bottle of this gel. So you will see me tilting the bottle a lot in this video. So the way that I place the nail is I'm not placing it directly at the cuticle. I'm going a little bit above because I need that width to go sidewall to sidewall. And I'm doing about a 10-second cure. I'm flipping the nail over. Any gel that pulled around my skin, I'm going to go ahead and smooth that to the tip of the nail. Let me show you again. I put a layer of the gel onto my nail. I don't cure it. I cure everything all at once. Plus I want that gel on my nail plate to actually move as well with the nail that's in the nail tip. So after I do that, I get the tip, I put a layer inside the tip, and then I leave the excess inside the cuticle area. So where I'm going to place this, again, I'm not placing this directly at my cuticle. I am placing it where I get the best sidewall to sidewall coverage, and looking at the nail, make sure it's on straight. Give it a cure of a few seconds. Flip the nail over. Any gel that pulled, just go ahead and get a brush and pull that to the tip. Go in and finish the flash curing. So when I'm using this lamp, it's actually a gooseneck lamp. I do have these on my website, information in the description box. I'm curing anywhere between 15 to 20 seconds. After I'm done with the entire hand, I will put it in the regular lamp for a full cure of at least 60 seconds. So I'm going to explain my process one more time, and the last two nails I'm going to just let you watch. I put a layer of gel on my natural nail, on my nail plate. I do not cure it. I get the tip. I put the gel in the tip, and then I leave a little bit in the cuticle area. I place it on the nail. I don't place it directly at the cuticle area. I make sure it's straight, and I make sure I have sidewall to sidewall coverage. Place it under the lamp for a few seconds, just enough for that gel to just start hardening. And then I flip the nail over, use a brush, pull any excess that pull that to the end of the nail tip, and then finish my flash cure. So I will repeat that process on these other two hands, and I will let you watch that as well. If you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comment section, and I will address as many of them as I can. Okay, this is how both hands look after I have applied the nails, fully cured everything. I am going to wipe off the sticky layer that's in that cuticle area, because remember, the whole nail isn't covered by that full coverage nail tip. The reason I'm doing this is because I want to clean up anything that might be on my skin. I want to clean up the cuticle area, and if I need to remove any line of demarcations, smooth that nail into the gel that in that gap area, then I want to go ahead and do that, because I'm going to apply another layer of the gel, but I don't want any lines of demarcation. So I just want to smooth it out and etch the surface of the entire nail and nail tip. Again, I need that rough surface for my next layer of product to adhere to. So I'm only showing me doing that on one finger. So now I clean off the dust, and I'm just going to go in and make sure I have a complete layer of gel polish from the cuticle area to the tip of the nail. The bulk of the, did I just say gel polish? Anyways, the bulk of the gel will be in the cuticle area, and I will just bring that down the nail. And this is just to ensure that I have the gel everywhere. If I want a little extra structure to the nail, I'll put a little extra gel. So I cure that, clean that off, and now I'm going to do my filing. And it's just pretty simple. I just start with my side walls. I flip the nail over to make sure there's no bulk on the side walls, bulk of product. And I'm just going to file them and get them into the shape that I want, compare it to the other thumb. And once I have the shape that I feel that I want, I'm just going to go over the surface of the nail and make sure there's no dips in the product that I use. So I just want to make sure that's a smooth surface as well. And I'm using a 180. So I'm using the 100 side of the nail file. And then I'll just go in one more time with the sanding band and just make sure that cuticle area is sealed and just everything is just smooth. This does seem like a lot, but for me, this is just how I apply my tips, especially tips that don't necessarily fit me if I place them at the cuticle area. This is just how I kind of finesse it. So hopefully these tips work for you. Let me know, because I do know a lot of people do comment about full coverage tips not being wide enough for their thumbs, or they have wide nail beds. So this is just my solution for having wider nail beds myself. The size I used on the thumb is a 0, and unfortunately I don't remember the other sizes I used for the other fingers. So after that, you can apply your design, what have you. I'm actually doing a gel polish review in Friday's video, so it's going to be the same nails, so watch Friday's video for that. And then I'm just going in with some of my scented oils or cuticle oils and just rubbing that into my skin, and that is the finished look of the nails before I apply any gel polish or any designs or anything like that. So at this point, you can really do whatever you want to do. If you want to add dip powder for color, you could do that. If you want to do just do gel polish, you could do that. If you wanted to add nude acrylic, you could do that as well. I do have a full coverage tips playlist that shows different designs, which I will link in the end cards. And also come back on Friday so you can see what I do with these nails. I appreciate everyone spending their time with me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys back on Friday.